Hey, this is all astrology, and we are talking about Mercury retrograde in February. We also have Mars going out of bounds in February, extending into March. So I want to take this time to dip into both of those two big things. If you know the degrees, you will know where this happens in your life. You'll be better prepared to handle these could be insane energies, but either way, we're going to take a deep dive and walk right through it or swim right through it or whatever we got to do. We're going to go do that right here, right now. Okay, people, we have Mercury retrograde. We all pretty much have all heard of Mercury retrogrades. Some of us don't feel like it actually makes a difference in our life, like it doesn't do anything to us, like it's not a big deal. That's because it depends where the heck that happens in your chart, okay? So for me, I'm really dreading this coming Mercury retrograde. Normally, well, I'll be honest, for many, many, many years, people would always say, oh, it's Mercury retrograde, it's doing this, it's doing that. And I'd be like, I don't get it. I don't understand. It never bothered me. The day I started doing this work on this platform, right? Using technology, internet, social media, is when I began to really understand what the hell Mercury retrograde, how it affected me in my life. So it's going to affect all of us differently, realistically. But realize Mercury rules communication, thinking, but it is technology, so it can have to do with internet, right? When we think about communications back in the day, that was like the printing press. Well, hello. We're using the internet. We have social media. We've got our devices, okay? So many times your TV's on the whack, right? Your internet's down, the damn thing. Not too long ago, we went through that here in the house. It was hilarious. Watching the television and it's in French or it's in a different language and you can't get the sub. Anyway, they were going through a whole bunch of crazy crap with subtitles in foreign languages and it was an effect of Mercury retrograde. Now, the higher octave of Mercury is Uranus. Why does this matter? Because I went through something that felt like a Mercury retrograde. A lot of us did. I saw a lot of people commenting, and I've seen it in other people's lives, where things that had to do with technology, because Mercury, its brother, so to speak, or its higher up, its authority figure, is Aquarian energy, is Uranus. Well, Uranus is anything that has to do with technological advancements for humanity. A lot can fit under that umbrella, right? So Mercury being by way of communication, it's a little bit more specific, okay? Because automobiles wouldn't necessarily be that thing that has to do with, an automobile is an advancement for humanity, but when we think about Mercury connected to communications, we wouldn't relate a vehicle. Although, right, Pony Express, that was communication, mail comes in. So yeah, like the more your brain starts thinking about it, you realize, holy shit, like everything falls into that. All you gotta do is pay attention. Pay attention with the dates that I'm about to give and understand if you have your chart. If not, comment your stuff down below. I'll hook you up. I'll share it with you. I'll let you know what area of your life it's in. It's not a big deal. Also, at the same time, we're going to be experiencing Mars going out of bounds. Mars going out of bounds. The planet Mars is the warrior. Mars is the Marine. It's the first one out of the gate. And we say first one out of the gate because it tends to be very impulsive. Mars is where we react instead of responding, okay? Mars is I feel like I'm being blinded again by this, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. It's crazy. Mars is where we just, something happens, and because it's something we care deeply about, we're passionate, we're driven, we're gonna stand up, we're gonna fight, we're gonna step forward and walk towards instead of creeping back and hiding. No, we don't do that with Mars. With Mars, it's like this get in your face type of thing almost, okay? But being that kind of energy going out of bounds, think about what Mars does. Mars is energetic bursts. Bursts, meaning they're not necessarily on a schedule. They're not something that we can actually predict, okay? It's almost like, well, only you know what you're deeply passionate about. So someone who's not you, right? People on the outside of you, people in your life, witnessing, observing, may be suddenly shocked, surprised, hurt, feel threatened, okay? Because this is something that you just kind of snap at, all right? And when we just kind of snap at something, it takes people off guard. It jostles them up. It shakes up their world. So at this time, Mercury retrograde, Mars out of bounds. When Mars goes out of bounds, it becomes extreme. It becomes more extreme. I just looked at someone's chart well, actually, there's a lot of folks' chart. Either they had Mars, their natal Mars is in Leo, or their natal Mars is in Cancer. Well, Leo is very fiery. We have a full moon coming up this month, right? February 9th, February 10th. I'll attach the video down below. If you haven't seen it, make sure you watch it. It'll give you a better understanding of what that's going to mean for you, what to expect in what areas of your life. But it's fire. It involves our heart. So if you combine things that drive, things you won't back down, and then your heart energy, what you really care about, and because it's something that gives you light, it's something that literally feeds you in some way, your vitality, it's heart energy is also how we express ourselves, how we communicate, how we talk, but how we individually shine. Combining all these things together, it can be explosive energy. And that's not to say that it has to be that way. No. If you're an aware individual, or if you have other aspects in your chart that offset it, that add balance to this, then it won't be such a big deal, okay? But going back, I know I'm floating back and forth between these two because this is how it's going to be. It's going to be like Mercury retrograde, Mars, right? They happen almost simultaneously. So the Mercury retrograde is going to begin on the 17th of February. February 17th, Mercury stands still and then retrogrades backward. And it retrogrades backward all the way to 28 degrees Aquarius, okay? Mercury literally right now, and I look at the current date. I didn't give the date out. Today's January 30th, I think. January 30th, 31st. It's not in the shadow zone yet. It's at 24 degrees. The shadow zone just literally means the space in which a planet goes backwards, the degrees that it recovers, okay? So it sees that area in your chart more than once. It sees it a few times, and there's a reason. Pay attention because this is significant. It helps you to understand what is it that we're thinking about because it's Mercury. What is it we need to rethink about? What is it that we need to look at again, maybe from a different perspective? What is it where we might have missed the details? Mercury, all right? Now, Mercury will begin, I think I already said the cat's kind of part of the screen now. Mercury going backwards tends to slow things down. So an advice a friend of mine gave me, which was really good advice, which was Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. You basically want to find out when those retrogrades are, and then with those dates, go to your chart and figure out what areas of your life it's in. And understand that whatever project you're undertaking, whatever you're involved in, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a work thing, whether it has something to do with home, whether it's a business thing, whether it's something to do with your community, right? Outreach, groups, whatever area of life it's in, your values, your income, whether it's all about me, self, or health, you kind of want to understand that because there's this retrograde happening, it's basically a time when you're like, you know what, I need more time to think this through. And because it's Mercury retrograde and it messes with advancements for technology, right? It could be my internet goes down. It could be my phone's not working, right? It could, all these little technical things. For me specifically, it happens in my 11th house. That's internet. 11th house is internet. 11th house is astrology. So I'm really not looking forward to this because the last time I went through this, which was last year, we have Mercury retrograde in Pisces and we're having it again. And I thought, oh great, I'm being tested. How badly do you really want to do this? No crap. When I was online, when I was using the computer, I would be recording. And then in the middle of a recording, the desktop would automatically, some talking would begin, and I had no clue what program was playing. I had no idea where it was coming from. I had all my browsers closed. The only thing I was doing was looking at a chart. And so all of a sudden there was this voice. And I was like, that's not usually how it sounds. It was so crazy. And I couldn't get it to turn off. And this happened for a long time. And then it started pulling up files. It would start opening iTunes all of a sudden. And there'd be like this pre-recorded thing from like years ago that all of a sudden would just start playing out of the blue. So you could understand how crazy and insane it was. because I was in the middle of a recording, doing a reading for someone's chart. And all of a sudden this voice pops in, right? And actually, I think it was somebody doing a reading for me. And it was so insane. Anyhow, so I'm not looking forward to this because prior to me getting involved in all this, I never knew what the hell the Mercury retrogrades meant. Like they meant nothing to me. I never connected the dots as to what a pain in the ass they could be. So let's take a look at the astrology, if I can find my dates. Because the cat is like, she's just decided she's going to be here and be part of this. Here's the good thing about this Mercury retrograde and Mars out of bounds, okay? Mars out of bounds happens literally at the butt end of the Mercury retrograde, okay? So this is really good news. But understand the energy overlaps. And typically, unless you have something at the degrees that I'll give you when I can find them, if you don't have like a planet at that point on that day, because normally, when something occurs, if we have a planet that's there or a significant angle, we feel it days in advance. Even though the date is February 9th, there could be this insanity like February 6th, February 7th, February 8th, right? We can feel it days, so the overlapping energies could be a factor. And so you want to keep this in mind because Mars is going to be starting its out of bounds sequence, starting February 9th to March 3rd, okay? So out of bounds means I go extreme. I am not in a responding phase. I am in a reactionary phase. I just snap, okay? I'm at my wit's end. I have no more patience and I am very impulsive and I just kind of dive without looking. I leap, right? I don't even look, I just leap. If you have planets, if you have a significant angle, okay, you want to beware. You want to write these dates down and understand where they happen in your life by knowing what area of your chart they occur in. So I have a lot of people who chime in and who will tell me, gee, I have my moon at 5 degrees in Leo, but they won't tell me what house it's in. The only way I could know what house it's in is I would have to have all of your birth data. Now, if you want to do that, then fine, but give me all of your birth data, okay? Because I have to know what house it happens in order to tell you what area of your life it's happening in. The sign will tell you, the sign does tell you a lot because you can connect, like I'll give you an example. I'm looking at someone's chart right now. They have their moon in Leo at 5 degrees. So as I'm reading this person's chart, I want to better understand that moon in Leo. Now, I need to know what does the moon rule? The moon rules Cancer. So I go and I look for the areas of their life where the moon rules. So I go to find their Cancer. And their Cancer is in their 11th house. So when this full moon comes around, okay, that full moon energy will be touching on their 5-degree moon. It'll also have something to do with Cancer. Cancer is family. Cancer is home. Cancer is emotions. All right, so for folks who have a Leo moon of any degree, likely you're going to feel that you're going to be fired up about something. How's that? You're going to be fired up, and not just about something, you're going to be fired up about issues of how I feel about something. And it's going to be connected to your tribe, to your family, to mom, to home, to your emotional security. That is when you see the moon and when you see the sign of Cancer, all those keywords, plug them all in. They're all relevant. All right? So for this individual, they have hidden emotions around, because it's in their 12th house. All right, I actually am going to do a free reading. And so connected to their free reading, I'll do in the next video, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to explain to them how they have their moon is being in their 12th means they have hidden emotions. The 12th is the house of the hidden. All right, so it's the subconscious realm. So this person has fiery emotions around issues, whether it's with mom or family, things that happened when they were a kid. This could definitely be past life stuff or stuff from very, very early childhood that they buried deep. All right, so this is how you follow the energy trail and better understand what the hell's going on in your life without being 100% dependent on me or anybody else. There is no greater teacher than you are when you take responsibility for what's going on in your life by seeing the energy, by knowing in advance when it's coming in and being present at the moment when it's happening and developing those extra degrees of awareness with yourself, okay, to be objective and to be the observer of the personality, going through it, okay? I know all that sounds insanely crazy, but you got to have a certain amount of trust here. That by just hearing me and maybe re-listening to what I'm saying or putting it into your own words and processing it and writing it down, when that time comes, there is going to be a part of your soul that I'm connecting to right now that will help you initiate it. And trust me when I say that when you do your soul's bidding, all right, when you allow your soul to step out of the personality and to take control, the soul rewards. And it's not, you'll know it, not because I'm saying it, because you treat it as all as an experiment and you watch and observe, just like a scientist, Aquarius, astrology, okay? And you observe. And if you need to, track this crap down. Get the dates, write stuff down. Because over time, you'll have a log of your life and you'll look back and be like, whoa. And you'll see, wow, this was here and this was here. And this is what was, the energies that were present. You'll learn more than anybody can ever teach you in a book, honestly. Because it'll be you being the scientist of your own life. And that's the times we're in. That is the age of Aquarius. It is when knowledge comes forth to man. Because man decides, hey, I am learning about me. And when I learn more about me and truly understand that, I have a greater capacity to understand we, right? To understand you, to understand everybody. All right, so let me get off my little box here and shake myself out of that and get back to the moment, which is Mars going out of bounds, okay, and Mercury retrograding. And there could be this dangerous overlapping time. And yeah, I know, I'm not trying to be fearful and say to people, danger, danger. I'm not trying to do that. But man, there are things that don't have to be as extreme. We could head them off, right, by knowing, okay, this is going to be that. I can feel it already. I hear what so-and-so is saying. I see how so-and-so is reacting. I am acknowledging how I'm feeling inside and what's rising up within me. I have to kind of be the leader, the coach of myself. I have to be the parent and I have to talk myself down off the ledge, so to speak, and say, hey, chill, step back a few notches, because being that strong could feel aggressive towards somebody who's observing, who's the outsider, right? Or who's the receiver of this kind of expression, so to speak. With a Mercury retrograde, we get stuff confused, all right? Because it's in Pisces. This is what makes it hard. It's in Pisces. Pisces' job is to add confusion. Its job is to cloud and to veil things. Okay, that helicopter accident that happened when all those wonderful people, loved ones, families, fathers, daughters, right, were all together. That helicopter was under a Neptune event, all right? There were other things. I only did one chart. I only looked at Kobe's chart because the minute I heard about the accident, that was the first report I heard, which was specifically just about Kobe Bryant and his daughter. They didn't talk about anybody else. Oh, I'm sorry, they did. They said Kobe Bryant and his daughter and 5 other people. And I kept thinking, this is really bogus because there were 5 other deaths, but all we're hearing about are these 2. But in essence, that was me jumping, because the reality was these families didn't even, or I should say Kobe Bryant's family, his that child's mom, I don't think, I could be wrong about this, and comment below and let me know, that she heard it the way we did. She didn't hear it from some authority figure saying, hey, there's been an accident, we need you to come down, confirm identification, blah, 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 whatever, however that happens. I've never been on the recipient of information in that way, specifically like that, with a spouse. But they heard the same way we did, which was on social media, right? Which is like, oh my God, that's bogus, right? But my whole point was the Neptune effect in information. The surrounding area that day had said, hey, we have a grounding rule right now because there's too much fog out there. It's dangerous. And for whatever reason, they went up anyway. That's all I know, okay? Like I said, I did look at Kobe's chart because of the fact that I heard that he was involved. And I wanted to astrologically see what else was going on. And there was some other stuff going on. But that's not what this video is about. So for right now, understanding Pisces and Mercury being information and being in Pisces and Pisces' job of the clouds rolling in. And when the clouds roll in, we can't see clearly. So what you always have to do is really work on being rational at this time, really relying on critical, independent thinking skills. And I have kind of been talking about this. This is probably the second or the third video where I'm emphasizing and honing in on this because highly delusional times are coming. I know we thought we were at the peak of them. Well, we're not, right? When you have Mercury going into Pisces, right? But typically it's a good thing because people are rethinking things, right? But they're rethinking them, but there's still going to be things that are hidden. So it's once Mercury is able to go direct, all right? And well, I'll release another video when we get closer to that time, but we'll get more clarity on it is the whole point. So let me go over again one last time before I end this video, the degrees that I want you to pay attention to and the dates for Mercury and Mars, all right? The specific time is like February 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. I want you to be very careful during that time. If you have matching degrees, okay, the degrees that this occurs at is going to be, hold on, they're here somewhere. I rewrote them like 1,000 times. Okay, so the degrees. Okay, so Mercury goes retrogrades at 13 degrees Pisces back to 28 degrees Aquarius. And Mars's out of bounds locations are 24 degrees Sagittarius to 10 degrees Aquarius. Okay, so in your chart, find out if you have any degrees that match, like if you have planets that are there at either one of those points for either Mercury or Mars, and then understand the dates that are connected to those degrees. Remember, folks, when you look at your chart, a degree equals a date. That's what an ephemeris shows you, okay? It's got that book. Gives you all degrees and the dates that coincide with them. So the time that we're looking for, to be careful, if we have, to be very careful, if we have planets or angles, is going to be during February 9th all the way to March 3rd. I can't tell you anything more specifically than that without looking at your actual chart. So if you want to go ahead and comment your birth digits below, that would be great. I will look it up and give you feedback that will help you, okay? It will be relevant to your life and to these days coming up. There's one other thing I want to talk about Mars. Mars is going to be, when Mars leaves Sagittarius energy, because during this out of bounds period, I just gave you the degrees, it does. It goes into Aquarius. It goes into Aquarius. I said Aquarius. It's Capricorn. I even wrote down Aquarius. After Sagittarius is Aquarius. Maybe I said it wrong. Either way, I have it written down wrong here. It's Capricorn. Man, my brain is, I am all over the damn place. So think about this. Mars and Sagittarius. Sagittarius is Jupiter, okay? It's the future. It can see forward. It's get these ideas about foresight, right? It's like, okay, I know that's coming. I have this sensation, this know-how, this knowing. I have information coming in, but we kind of doubt it. Don't doubt that information, all right? Find out where you have Sagittarius in your chart because Mars is trucking through there, okay? Now, Mars tends to, depending upon who you are, Mars likes to be active, all right? I know people where they have Sagittarius in their third house, they're having a hard time sleeping right now because the brain's not shutting off. Actually, the Neptune squaring Mars was helping them because it actually helped slow their thoughts so they were able to sleep. But now Mars is pulling away from the Neptune square, so they're starting back with their, okay, it's hard to sleep now, my brain won't turn off. And that's why, that's what happens. So when Mars goes out of bounds for these folks, hopefully, depending upon where their Capricorn energy picks up, it might shift into their fourth house. And if it does, that'll be good. Because then what happens is, it goes and it leaves the brain. It leaves the thinking stage. Capricorn is like initiating. Let's do. It's cardinal. It's time to take action. And here comes Mars. And they both get it. They're like, it's time to let's do this. So you may find that it would be a time, you know, if you have Capricorn in your third house, it's a time where you're going to be doing even more thinking. Okay, but for folks who had Sagittarius in the third house and it goes to the fourth house, all of a sudden that's Capricorn energy. That means you're probably going to be more involved in doing things around the home, like implementing things, like saying, okay, this was the plan. This is what I was thinking about when it was in Sag, but now that it's in Capricorn, we're going to do. So you might find yourself saying, okay, we wanted to do this, but we have to do this to get there. Because Capricorn energy is about, these are the rules of the game. Right? This is what it's going to take for us to actually strive and hit our goal. We have to follow this. We have to be methodical. We have to plan. And so it goes from the thinking stage to literally implementing it, pulling out the calendar, writing down dates, doing all that, right? That would be that Mars slipping into the 3rd/4th house and implementing and saying, let's do this now. Okay? So keep that in mind, because that might help some folks understand, especially people who've been having sleep disturbances. But you might become more physically involved at work as well. Because remember, Mars is our body. All right, so there might be people who feel a boost in health at this time too, especially after they got away from the Neptune squaring Mars situation. All right, so I hope that this has helped light your path. Bye.